welcome to Game On, brought to you by the American Hotel. I'm Jess.
And I'm Alex. We're here at MOAMA's home ground where we saw the return of one of the Murray League's biggest names this weekend. We're going to bring you that and all the other action from around the district.
And don't forget, we've got another episode of Echuca Fashion Centre Workwear First Handball competition, and MOAMA's Dylan Jardine is bringing us this week's fixtures. And
Tongala Football Club's Bailey Waasdorp, he made his debut for the Bendigo Pioneers this weekend. We're going to show you his jumper presentation. This is Game On.
Well, let's get underway with the Murray League this week and the return of MOAMA's star forward Tyler Jones in their game against America on the weekend.
Yeah, that's right. He played in the midfield in this one just to get a little run into the legs. Mark Lloyd said, and it looked like he pulled up okay, but we'll hear from him a bit later. Not the worst performance from MOAMA, but they were, they did have the most of the play in that first quarter. Should have been a couple of goals up. And then that second quarter, just not quite good enough. New America really switched the ball well in the back line, got great run off the half back, and they just moved the ball just a little bit too well for MOAMA to stop. So 5-0 in that quarter, and that pretty much had all the control of the game after that. They fought on pretty well, MOAMA, so maybe 3 of those 4 quarters were not too bad, but just that second really killed them.
Yeah, they haven't had that much of great losses against those top sides in Nathalia and Baruga and Numurkah, so I think considering the context that they haven't got a lot of those players and they haven't got much of a forward line at the moment, they're doing incredibly well, and I think when they get the chance to play those teams again in the back end of the season, we'll be seeing some very different results from those guys.
Yeah, that's right, and that forward line is obviously going to get a huge boost when they get Tyler back in there. You had the chance to catch up with him, so let's have a listen to what he had to say.
It was good to get around the boys again and actually be able to have an influence. Like, I've been watching, trying to help out in ways I can on the sidelines, but no, it was pretty emotional, real proud moment for me. So at the same time, I was nervous, I was anxious. Like, you always have that doubt that it's going to happen again or you're not going to be quite up to it, but no, it was good to get that one out of the road for sure. It's a long, lonely road for 12 months, sort of. I couldn't work for 3 months, so pretty much laid up, and yeah, just a lot of work with my physio and trainers and that sort of thing, just to do some strength work in my legs and my hips and core and all that sort of thing. Just got to remain positive, I think. That's what's driven me the whole time. Just, you always have doubts in your mind whether you can ever play footy again, sort of. But, yeah, just good support from the club and family and friends, and it's just driven me to remain positive and keep having a crack, I guess. Yeah, the coach wanted to drag me, but I refused. I wanted to get a late goal in the last quarter, so yeah, got on the end of one, which was good. Stay positive with it all. Like, it's a mental roller coaster. It can really get you down at times, but just stay positive. Trust yourself, trust your body, trust what your physio's got to say for you, and yeah, just keep having a crack. Like, it's going to get you down at times, but just stick at it.
Well, across to another game in the Murray League this week, Echuca United taking on Baruga in what I'm going to call the biggest upset of the Murray League season so far. Echuca United, they got across the line in what was a real team performance from the guys at Echuca South. Coach Guy Campbell said it was near impossible picking the best players this week, but Lance Oswald, 4 goals that got him best on ground for the game. In the end, United just didn't allow Baruga to play, and I think that's what you need to do against these top sides to get the win. It was Baruga who looked the rattled side out there from the onset. Those big goal scorers in Tyrone Downey and Will Gorman, they managed to kick just 3 goals between them, so a massive boost for those back 6 guys there in their ability to really shut down Baruga's forward line. Just 3 points in it at quarter times, and then they managed to boost out that margin to 23 points heading into the 4th quarter. So a massive pump up there for their guys at United, and no doubt something that they'll be taking on for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's right. And we know they've got Nathalia this week, which is probably the most daunting matchup for any team in the Murray League at the moment. But we did see them lose on the weekend to Moala after the siren, so maybe there's a little bit of vulnerability there at Nathalia. Maybe we could see another huge upset for United this weekend. We stay in the Murray League now. Tongala, a reasonably disappointing 27-point loss to the Denny Rams. And look, this is the sort of game I'd really like to see Tony start to win, because it's teams just around their level. If they could start winning them, it would be taking another step forward as a club, moving further and further towards getting back to finals football. But we know they're young and still developing. But consistent effort, that's one of the non-negotiables, isn't it, for coaches? They all say they need 4 consistent quarters of effort, and when you lose the first quarter 4 goals to 0, you lose the third quarter 4 goals to 0, it's going to make things very difficult, and it's just about that effort, isn't it? And they face Baruga, who we know maybe they're a little bit vulnerable at the moment too, but I think for Tony it's just important to get that effort straight back up.
Yeah, look, it was Denny's first win in 7 games after they were able to beat Rumballara back in round 3, and it really shows how even those teams are outside of the top 6, and you really can't rely on ladder positions this season with Tony sitting above Denny on the ladder heading into the game. Liam Pitts, John Anstey, they were both pretty incredible for Denny in the game. Over across in the Goulburn Valley League, Echuca took on Seymour. It was really their tackling pressure up that forward end which got them across the line in a win over Seymour at Vic Park. They weren't the favourite going into the game, with the Lions above them on the ladder showing some good form this season. Coach Andrew Briggs, he pinned them as a top 4 side heading into the game, but Echuca, they were able to get the win by 18 points in the end, and they were able to generate a lot more forward entries than their opposition, which is something they'll be taking into the game against Shepparton United. Look, 4 straight wins now for the Bombers, so they're definitely riding that momentum. And it was the young guys who really stood up this week. Ben Costello, Nathan Bodley, James McNamara, 27 tackles between them, so a massive impressive effort there. Elliot Stewart and Angus Byrne, also another one of those young guns who are stepping up and really proving themselves for the Bombers. They'll still need to work on that last kick inside 50 though, if they're really to take it to those top sides, especially with Kai looming in just 2 rounds.
Yeah, that's right. Look, we know Seymour we don't want to take anything away from them. They were missing a few boys, Sard, Jason Cole, Brett Meredith, who were 3 of the top line stars. They were out, but look, it's Echuca's first huge win of the season, isn't it? And they do need to get that form up, because they've got Shep United, but then Kai, Urawa and Benal, which is the current top 3, all in a row. So the form does need to stay up for Echuca. We move to the Heathcote League now, and Leachfield Gunbow continued their pretty solid form with in a pretty tough win against Colbo, just a 30-point win for Leachy Gunny. Colbo really tried to get numbers behind the ball and slow down that dangerous Leachy attack, and it sort of worked, but they did break away, late in that game, pull away for the 5-goal win. Colbo, not an easy side to beat, and it's a pretty big game, so it's a good result, but more importantly for Leachy Gunny, they can get that bye, get a few players back, hopefully 4 or 5 players back after the bye. But another huge story in the Heathcote League was LBU, their first win of the season, a 74-point win, and it was just great for the club, wasn't it, to see them on the board. They just flogged them early, got a huge lead, and were able to hold on from there. But one of their real star performers, Merrick Buchanan, Peter Gibbs said, they don't take individual stats at the Cats, but he had well over 40 touches and one of the most dominant performances he'd seen in a while, which was awesome. And a huge chance for LBU to make it 2 in a row this weekend, because they're playing Elmore.
Yeah, and over in the Bacola and District League, Mathara, they went into the game with a really defensive game plan against Bacola United, but when you're coming up against the benchmark side, you can't afford to just play good defensive footy. It was really one of those games where they needed to take control and play some strong, aggressive footy, and they really didn't do that. It really hurt them on the scoring front. They were only able to kick 2 goals in the 34 points lost to Bacola United, and United, they were just able to break through that defensive structure anyway, kicking 22 goals, 16 of them though still behinds, and it's something John Varco said they will be working on moving forward, but another impressive performance across the ground from these guys, so I'll be surprised if any team's able to stop them this season. We'll take a short break now before we come back with all the netball from around the district.
Well, before we get into this weekend's netball, let's take a look at the Echuca Fashion Centre Workwear First Handball competition with the Lockington-Bamawm United under-14s.
Hi, we're here at Lockington Reserve with Lockington-Bamawm United under-14s for another episode of Echuca Fashion Centre Workwear First Handball competition. Same rules apply. The guys will get 3 handballs each. Top 2 guys will go through to our semi-finals later in the year. Let's meet who we've got from the Gats.
Hi, my name's Kobe Cox.
Hi, my name's Luke McKean.
Hi, I'm Hugh Byrne.
Hi, my name's Riley Howard.
Hi, I'm Cody Thompson.
score of 15. We've got Cody and Hugh. They'll be going through to our semi-final later in the year to take on all the other clubs. Woo, yeah! Well, well done, Hugh Byrne and Cody Thompson. They'll be going through to our semi-finals later in the year.
Well, let's move across to the netball now. And we had a top of the table clash, MOAMA and Numurkah, and it was MOAMA coming out on top with a 16-goal win. They haven't really played a really competitive match in quite a while, so it did actually take them a little while to get used to that intensity and find their feet. But in saying that, they were still up 10-5 at quarter time and ran away from there. So they're a little bit too good, aren't they? But that defensive end, as strong as ever for MOAMA, only 27 goals, and Ange Slattery shut down Numurkah's dangerous shooter, and there's not really too much else to say. They're 10-0 and perfectly on track for that perfect season.
Yeah, look, Echuca United, they will not be as happy with their performance on the weekend. They weren't their usual selves out there, only winning by 6 goals against Barooga, which should have been a real percentage boosting game for the Eagles. A win is a win though, and Coach Al Florence said they'll take the 4 points no matter how they come. She'll be expecting more from the team though in coming games, that's for sure. Amy Gledhill, their goalkeeper, she was out this week, so Tilly Keenan, she was thrown into the defensive end, and she certainly held her own in there with Clorinda Hudson-Proctor. But it was just their transitions down the court which let them down. And something else said they've been talking a lot about this season is just keeping that consistency throughout the game. It's certainly a game they'll be looking to put out of their minds though when they take on Nathalia this weekend.
Yep, and another team who's right up the top. We've actually got the 1, 2, 3 of the Murray League at the moment. Tony in third now. Pretty good win, because we know Denny have been a good team, really pushing a lot of teams and making them earn their wins this season. And Tony always missing a couple of players, so always great to be winning. And they really stood up when it mattered most, because Denny did close within 4 goals late in that fourth quarter, and they really responded, able to run away with a really solid 12-goal win. Standout player, and she has been for a couple of weeks now, Tracy Hughes, who's in the ring doing the majority of the work with Sarah Pettifer out. She's just roaming brilliantly there and just absolutely dominating. She's lifted her game to a whole new level, and yeah, as we said, 23rd on the table now, so they're doing brilliantly.
Yeah, over in the Golden Valley League, another team who's not doing too badly is Echuca. They again just had one player out there over the age of 20 in that 9-goal win over Seymour. Annabelle Johnson, she came on for her first full A-grade game, taking on the wing attack role, and she certainly held her own. Abby Poulton, she was thrown into goal attack with Lisa Drysdale out, and with an 80% goaling accuracy, look, you can't be too disappointed with that performance. They sort of rode the coattails of a good start though, which is something they'll be looking to address in coming weeks, especially with Shep United and Kyabram coming up, 2 very tough games there. Another player who's really been impressing me from the Murray Bombers and the coach Casey Freeman, that's Meg Road. She's only in year 10 and she's been thrown into that wing defence role in the last couple of weeks, and Casey said she's really impressed by her and the way she's able to read the play and then take those massive athletic intercepts throughout the game. So she'll be definitely one to watch as the season progresses.
Definitely. We'll just have a look at the other games now. LBU had a pretty disappointing 8-goal loss to Mount Pleasant. Goldberg continued an undefeated season against Leachigani, 62-30, and Gold United and Mathera had a closer game than they did in round 1. But Picola still were able to come out on top, 45-38.
Well, let's check out the games this weekend with MOAMA's Dylan Jardine.
Hi, my name is Dylan Jardine. I'm 12 years old from the MOAMA Junior Football Club. This week in the GVL, Echuca take on Seymour at Victoria Park. In the Murray League, MOAMA play Numurkah at home. Echuca United host Barooga at South, and Tongala take on Denny at home. In the Heathcote League, LBU play Mount Pleasant at Lockington. Lichfield-Gumbow takes on Colburn-Abermawr, and Picola United and Mathera will meet at Picola.
Thanks for that, Dylan. Well, that's almost it for us this week. Be sure to tune in to riverineherald.com.au and our Facebook page next week for another episode of Game On. And be sure to grab your copy of Monday's Lift to see if you're the American Hotel's next face in the crowd.
Well, before we go, we're going to bring you some footage of Bailey Waasdorp. He made his debut for the Bendigo Pioneers on the weekend. Some footage of his jumper presentation there. And we're going to be chatting with Bailey next week, so make sure you come back to the same place, same time next week.
51, Bailey Waasdorp from Tongala.